part 3 got released. This is the last one. Since I did the other two, might as well do this one. I don't have the face cam on because I have a bad sleep schedule and I'm tired, so it's gonna be less of a reaction. But I'll read the whole thing. It's not like it's that. I mean, this one's pretty important. It's actually like a lot of gameplay changes and stuff. And so I actually want to read a little bit more about it. I just skim a little bit through it to see how long it is. It's pretty long, like always. So like I said, we're gonna take a look and see what Luke Smith has to say for the one last time. See what we're working with. So he says, "Okay, when I started writing Director's Cut, I figured it would be an easy couple thousand word post. My plan was to rapidly look back at the past 6 months of Destiny 2 and lay out a simple outline of where we want to go this fall. I think I still did that, but I ended up wanting to talk more about why the team and share we we are thinking about Destiny. I remember following games when I was younger and being excited to dig into messages the developers put together, like Ty- Tiggles posts on raids and dungeons back in my wild days, and I loved it and loved reading those posts. Maybe this was all a love letter to a long form communication, a relic from a time before it was all hot takes. I don't know what this reference is, but whatever. Anyways, I didn't think this would add up to something longer than almost every paper I wrote in college, but here we are. Before we get to today's programming, I want to circle back on reloader mods and also about mods more generally in Armor this fall in case you missed it on my Twitter thoughts. I read this when he posted on Twitter. Basically, this is what he says. These general mods would provide the exact same effect as hand cannon reloader, but also affects other small arm weapons, costs 4 to 5 energy depending on the mod, and do not have an elemental affinity associated with them. These general mods, of which there are 11, are unlocked for everyone automatically, so you can start to tinker them right away. Basically, when you want to specialize your weapon, it requires matching your armor energy type, and then you get an energy discount for socketing that mod. So every single mod is available for every single armor set, basically. But if you want to be very, very specific and you want to use more of that, then you want to match the energy type, which will cost less for that mod to be socketed in. So, you know, more of a min-max kind of stuff. But everyone's always questioning like, oh, is shotgun reloader going to be on a void armor? Like, yes, but a lesser form of it. But if you want like a regular shotgun loader or shotgun loader enhanced, then you need the right energy affinity for that mod, basically how it works it seems. I could be wrong, but it's something like that. Anyways, thanks for the questions on this. Let's finish the series by looking at combat, where the action game and RPG collide and begin the conversation about the single evolving world portion of our vision. We'll have more on the evolving world later this month after the feeling has returned to my fingers. Nice. Anyways, first block, combat, then the inevitable. I can't speak that. Collision of action and RPG. Anyways, I know the word. Anyways, we want the game to be an awesome power fantasy where challenge can push back on its players, and we discussed in part one. The game started to bend in year two under the weight of this power and Destiny's imperative that it ride the line between action game and RPG. This section is going to explore the collision across a variety of places, the UI, the player character, and of course PvP. Part 1. Damage numbers and the 999 problem. See, I've hit this one too, but it doesn't really matter that much. Not it doesn't affect that much. The only thing that affects is like Shadow Throne, maybe raid bosses. I don't know, but we've hit this number a couple times. Destiny 2 was built with very different goals in mind than was the much improved version of the game we've been playing today. Some parts simply weren't meant to last for several years. One of those parts is display damage values relative to players' power level. This problem most frequently manifests to players as the frequency as of 999,000 showing up on your HUD. As the post-Forsaken year continued, the curve that dictates the value of display damage sharpens into a hockey stick. The display values for Shadowkeep rocket off the graph and become almost vertical. This inflation for damage is getting retooled this fall. It will look like a UI number squish, but more crucially, behind the scenes, we're setting up the damage display systems to last. It's important that you understand we're not nerfing your outgoing damage number. Rather, we're refactoring the display number game wide. We've also had something that over the years the team has come the immunity wall. This value where players cannot damage AI. In the game today, if you're 50 power below an enemy and you shoot it, you'll deal a big old donut. Another change we've made this fall that we've raised the immunity wall to 100. This means you can now do damage to enemies you're up to 100 power below. The app power, you and an enemy are the same power experience isn't changing. This isn't a nerf, this is a way for folks on to take on a greater challenge by fighting further below the power curve. The thing is interesting about this is that since everybody's 750 when the game comes out, and we don't know, still don't know what the max power is, but I'm assuming it's 1,000. So it would have been kind of a problem if 50 was the thing, because there was such a huge gap in this season, like literally 1,000 to 750. It's crazy. So yeah, it kind of makes sense it'd be 100, and it does kind of add up a little bit too. 100, it works a little bit well with the 750. Even though like you want to be an even number, if it was 700 to 1,000, it adds those points of 800, 900 at the 1,000. But having the 50 in it actually helps a little bit, I think. Anyways, next we have buffs, debuffs, and stacking rules. You know it, I know it, and Glad knows it. The way damage stacking works in the game right now is busted. Multi multiplicative. Oh God, I can't speak today. Anyways, multiply damage combines with exponential damage, inflation above to send damage numbers to soaring heights, and on of we cannot continue this way. We've taken all the weapon damage buffs, these enhance the player's outgoing damage that can appear on a character, and stack to rank their damage effects. These effects like Empowering Rift, Well of Radiance, Lumina's buff, and Top Tree Void Titan's Weapon of Light, and we've overhauled the system under the hood so the damage calculations use only the most powerful buff on a player at a given time. Yikes. It's got a nuisance to it. Though, if you're under the damage effect of something stronger than Well Variance, you will still receive the healing effect of the well, but the damage bonus will not come from other buff Lumina weapons. So like, oof. We've made some changes to debuffs as well. A debuff is an effect that weakens the enemy. We've touched the effects on durations of a number of them. These effects include Hammer Strike, Shattering Strike, Tractor Cannon, and Shadow Shot. Shadow Shot will now work on powerful weapons as well. Ooh, that's a good buff. In general, only one buff can be active on the player at a given time, and enemies can be affected by one debuff at a time. Interesting. There are notable exceptions in the form of exotic and weapon applications, perks like Kill Clip, Rampage, etc. The exotics and weapon application perks will remain multiply, increase to damage above the ability buff values. Here's a simple version. Buffs. Buffs that apply to a single weapon, Rampage, Kill Clip, Exotics, can still stack. Buffs that affect all your weapons no longer stack. The most powerful of those buffs will apply to your damage. I'm sure someone's going to make a video on this that shows this in action October 1st. Interesting. So a lot of people were talking about how like, uh, Melting Point or Hammer, whatever it's called, Hammer Strike, uh, Tractor Cannon, and Tether, how they don't stack. So like if you were to use Hammer Strike and then when it's still debuffed to enemy, you would use a Tractor Cannon. It would remove the Hammer Strike's debuff that you put on it, and it wouldn't stack basically. So it's not like they removed it. It's just they just made it more, I guess, apparent of what it's actually doing. Not like it wasn't like the only thing that's bad is the player stacking. That one actually stacked. The debuffs didn't really stack that much, but the player like Rift and like I don't know, um, what other stuff? What was it about? Um, yeah, like Well of Radiance, I guess, and like Luminous buff. Yeah, these like I guess I don't know if people use that a lot. I don't know. Anyways, supers everywhere. Masterwork guns, super mods, and orbs everywhere. Right now, for a pretty decent player running super mods, the time it takes to gain super is under 2 minutes PvP. If you compare the duration and damage of roaming supers in Destiny 2 to roaming supers in Destiny 1, you'll see they're more powerful now than ever before. We didn't even have roaming Arc Titans in Destiny 1, but every time I play PvP, I get killed by one twice in the same super. Similar to the way that deep down we all know damage dealing capabilities of Guardians have gotten out of control, we know that supers have too. Destiny 2 was overly restrictive at launch, but now the pendulum have swung too far in the other direction. We've we're starting to bring this back toward the center in Shadowkeep. On livestream a couple months ago, I mentioned that we're lowering the roaming super damage resistance, and we are. Seeing someone pop a super should not instantly make us want to run away, give up, and float off the map. I always run away. Whenever I hear it get popped, I run away. If depending on how much people depending on how much people is around me, if it's just by myself, I just run. There's no point in fighting them. Unless I have a weapon that can one-shot them or do damage to them, that's fine. But most of the time, I just run away. It's just like, there's no point. There's some you can fight. For an example, you can fight, it's not like a roaming super, but you can fight Golden Gun. They have less armor. I don't know what you can fight Nova Warp, because it sucks so bad. I don't know, you can kind of fight Blade, Night Stalker, or whatever it's called. I forget what her names. Ones you can't fight would be Dawnblade. That one's kind of scary, and Striker, um, and Arc Staff is kind of scary as well. But Middle Tree, Arc Striker, is scary. Anyways, let's get back to this. So, let's see. Oh yeah, we want super kills to feel earned, and we want players on the business end of super to feel like they're making a big play and put down that Striker Titan. Being able to challenge someone in the super is important, and right now many supers are very, very, very hard to challenge. Yep. On top of that, more things than ever now contribute to players getting supers back, so we're doing the same tuning there as well. Supers will be just as powerful, but there will be more strategic choice. As such, we're reducing the effectiveness of orbs from the super meter, and reducing super energy gain from kills and assists. Ooh. This isn't just a PvP problem. Remember that series on the Reckoning in part 1? It's all related. Supers are still very, very powerful in PvE game. Players just need to be slightly more specific with their timing and positioning than in the past. This kind of tuning is a pendulum. We've swung it hard in different directions, and we're hopeful that these changes will become to find a better middle ground in Destiny 2. I know you'll let us know your thoughts once you've played in this full. They don't want anybody with their thoughts there right now. People ask questions. People want to give their thoughts now, but they want people to wait because there's nothing you can do until you test it out, kind of thing. These are just all words. We don't know exact numbers, so we'll see. Anyways, part 4: heavy ammo available. In Destiny 1, heavy ammo became an in-match rally point in 6v6 matches. Once open, players nearby would all get some heavy ammo. In Destiny 2, heavy ammo is a jockey for position speed before need looting game that gets played all the time. In Destiny 1, heavy ammo felt metered. In Destiny 2, you can defeat a team but not an Arc Titan multiple times for a brick for a hammerhead. So where is this heading? We're making some changes to heavy ammo. In Destiny 2, heavy ammo will be communal and 6v6 playlists. We're also reducing the amount of ammo per brick in PvP. For certain 6v6 archetypes, it's not exactly the same in D1 when player cracks open the heavy crate. Other players have a window to interact with the heavy ammo. Interesting. Let's talk about PvP. There has been a lot of conversation internally and externally. At different points during the year around the support Bungie provides PvP. On one hand, we have continued to tune the game each quarter, added pinnacle PvE weapons that somehow ended up as pinnacle PvE weapons. Yep. Tried out a ranking system in the Crucible and returned the game to 6v6 roots. On the other hand, we haven't released a new permanent game mode. Many game modes from Destiny 1 are nowhere to be seen. There even isn't a public facing PvP team, and last thing we said, Trials was staying on hiatus indefinitely. Let's get some things sorted out. Trials of 9 wasn't a hero we wanted to be. We made too many changes to a formula that, while it had begun to decline in Destiny 1, it wasn't as flawed as we thought. When we were making Destiny 2, we talked about a lot and making sure it felt like a sequel, bringing in new players and simplifying the game. In Trials of 9, we created another casual, casually, casualty there. It happened on my watch, and if I could turn back time, I'll I'll like, I'm dying. Okay, I challenge us to do things differently, many things differently. If nothing else, I hope it's clear we are committed to learning from the mistakes we made and making it right. Okay, there are were some really cool parts to the emissary. Some of the gear was pretty potent, dark, darkest before, but the theme felt weaker. The Trials card was less important and the stakes felt lower. Trials of 9 didn't work the way we hoped, and Trials of 9 is on hiatus indefinitely. Yikes. Still going on that. So, why we're so quiet about PvP? Well, we didn't have a lot to say. We weren't actively developing something to hype up. We knew PvP was going to be something everyone got for free in New Light, so it wasn't really part of Shadowkeep's core offering. What are we doing about PvP became a question. We were asked internally to a bunch of folks on our team are passionate about PvP and wanted to know where it's heading. PvP is in need of some quality of life improvements and reconstructing. This fall, with New Light hopefully bringing a bunch of new folks into Destiny, with with our existing players looking for some updates to PvP, we'll start by making significant changes to the PvP portion of the director. Today, it's a fine balance between adding playlists and maintaining healthy populations when we're looking at changes to playlist structures. We want to achieve a couple of goals. First, we want players to have some more agency to respect to pick a playlist, play a mode. And second, we want the playlist to drift back to everything is a factor of 3 that Destiny 1 used and the rest of the game mostly uses. Player counts being based on a common number like 3 is important, and it was a bunch of activities for groups of friends to engage with. In Destiny 1, players could run a couple strikes groups, team up a raid, go play 6v6 PvP, split up, and go to 3v3 PvP, etc. At launch, Destiny 2's 4v4 PvP completely broke this pattern, and we want to reset that bone with PvP this fall. We've revised the playlist a lot, and here's how's it gonna work. So here's a pretty big list here. I think I read a little bit of this, but I'll try to see and we'll read this again. So we removed quick play competitive nodes in director, so that's completely gone. We've If you're looking for an experience like Quick Play, we've added Classic Mix, a connection-based playlist like Quick Play today. Classic Mix includes Control, Clash, and Supremacy. I don't remember Supremacy being in there. It was only Control and Clash, and maybe it was Yeah, maybe Supremacy was in there. I forget what Supremacy is, to be honest. Anyways, competitive is replaced with 3v3 Survival, which I do enjoy Survival a lot. Survival is really fun. Yeah, so Survival is really fun. I don't like Control. I don't like. Oh, when I play competitive, I'm not a competitive player, but I did enjoy playing Survival a lot. But 3v3 does sound more. What do you call it? I mean, it was 4v4 back before, but 3v3 feels like whenever it's smaller teams, there's more pressure on you. Basically, there's less action, but a lot more pressure on your life and stuff. So I don't know. I might feel better, but there's less action in 3v3s, which now awards glory. We've added a survival solo queue playlist that also awards glory. We've added 6v6 control as its own playlist with the potential of influx of new players as far we want. Players have a playlist that signals to new players that this is where we start. We feel 6v6 control is the right starting place when choosing new friends to Destiny. We've added a weekly 6v6 rotator and a weekly 4v4 rotator. These rotator playlists are those where modes Clash, Supremacy, Mayhem, Lockdown, and Countdown will appear. We remove some underperforming maps from Matchmaking too. Alright. We've also been working our 4 variants of 3v3 elimination. They include different approaches to revives, token resurrection or not, and variations on how heavy ammo works. Elimination is going to make its return in Crucible Labs. However, Elimination is very much unfinished. It's missing VO, and there are no unique medals associated with it. Between the missing polish and 4 variants, we like your feedback on Elimination for the time being. It's a great fit for Crucible Labs, and we fully expect to graduate Labs from warmer home. So I feel like, so we're saying about all this, there's a lot of game like right now in Destiny there is quick play, there is Rumble, and then they have the rotating game mode of the week, and then they have custom matches, and then they have competitive, right? There's only like 5 you could choose from. Now they're giving all this variation. I could be wrong. I don't know how much the buttons are going to be, but there's a lot to tweak. Basically, they don't have to separate. If you're set when you're separating a bunch of game modes, what happens that you can have a better way to pinpoint the problem and fix that problem in that one game mode. I understand that's a good thing, but then, yeah, and it's a lot harder to update quick play playlist because you have to change everything in the quick play playlist basically. I guess it kind of makes sense, but still, it'll put a lot of. I think it's gonna put a lot of work on developers when they have to look through everything, and if the change, if it's not gonna be like a global change, and if it's a specific change into that one game mode, then they have to really like look back and like, oh, we did this change here, but not here, and then it's a lot better here, but not here. It's I feel like it's gonna be a lot of work. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know how it's gonna be worked into, but I feel like it's a lot. Anyways, so here we go. I could have said a little bit earlier. Who knows? I didn't read it all, but we'll see. Anyways, we wanted to make sure that we could test elimination on familiar maps, so we brought back Widow's Court and Twilight Gap. We want you to play. We want to play with you and watch you play elimination and combat sandbox and see how it all fits together. We're also changing how we do matchmaking. For a bunch of potential new players entering Destiny via new light, we don't want PvP to feel like you're being told it's time to learn to swim as the helicopter door opens over the Pacific Ocean. We've made some changes to separate the new swimmers from the Olympians. Additionally, we've also taken a longer look at matchmaking and overhauled the skill matching system in the game today. Quick Play is the only playlist that doesn't have some version of matchmaking in the game. We're preserving that behavior connection matchmaking and 66 classic mixed playlists. Here's what gets really annoying about skill match. When it's overly restrictive, it's fatiguing when every single game feels like a sweat fest. When it's overly loose, a player can get an entire evening of unlucky matchmaking RNG where they're getting dumped on by squads of Terminators shredding kindergartens. A bad time for kindergartens. There are such There's a much more complexity and nuance to an evening of PvP when those 2 statements above, but they do accurately capture the core problem, a lack of match-to-match variety. Sure, for a bunch of Terminators, a night of stomping might be a blast, but what about the folks receiving end of the business? This is where it gets tricky to improve matchmaking. People generally tend to focus on their own experience and their feedback. We think variety across an evening of PvP is important. This fall, scale match should ensure a wider variety of matches, regardless of player skill. Some matches should be tense and thrilling, while other matches should be just jumps. This philosophy should also apply to the top players, so they feel like every match is a sweat show. Either, yeah, sweaty. We've refactored how players gain glory ranks with these scale match changes. We're factoring in your skill value to glory gains and losses, so that number can be more effectively represent skill. I'm about to show you some skill real quick. We've made a number of quality of life changes to Glory, Valor, and Infamy to make losses less punishing to your streaks. Once the above changes go live in October, we'll be watching, listening, and reading us. Check them out. I've read this so badly. I don't know what happened. Honestly, it's sad. Anyways, let me try to refocus here with the 2 last blocks here. So let's read this. Here we go. An evolving world. There is an aspirational vision for what evolving could mean for Destiny. Someday, Destiny could become a dynamic world where the world changes each season. We want playing Destiny to feel like you're playing in a game world with true momentum, a universe that is going somewhere, a game where things are happening not just in terms of new items and activities, but also in terms of narrative. It's frequently seemed like Destiny was treading water in terms of moving the world's narrative forward. We want to tackle this in Destiny 2's third year. During Season 8, a new situation will unfold on the moon. I'm being cagey here only because I'm reluctant to spoil anything. Over the course of the season, parts of the game will change before the situation accumulates in an event that will ultimately resolve it, and its content will be exhausted. But this resolution sets up the events for Season 9, which again adds something new to the game and resolves it, something that too will go away, but not before setting up for Season 10. I guess that makes sense. This differs from last year's annual pass, which permanently added activities to the game. This year we'll see events that last for 3 months and offer new rewards to chase, although at the end of the period some activities will go away for a time, but the rewards will too. But we also acknowledge that parts of Destiny is collecting all the stuff, so in the future seasons, the weapons and legendary armor associated with these season events will be added to other reward sites. Okay. I alluded to some of this when we're looking back. The game continue growing forever isn't something we can support. Destiny's simulation, fidelity, and architecture fundamentally make it a big game. I've seen a lot of game X does it. Why can't Destiny? But the reference games and ours have a different technical profiles. People ever all those references to Warframe. I'm pretty sure. Maybe Borderlands as well. Anyways, technical limitations aside, we also don't think making a game that grows forever is Destiny's path forward. It's why the second component of the vision is a single evolving world. To clarify, that single evolving world doesn't mean there's only one destination on the director. That's not where we're heading. You were with friends, got the gear and weapons to remember it by, made memories and changed destiny alongside. Changed along, wait, and change alongside destiny. Honestly. In late August, we're going to talk more about the annual pass and how it's continuing to evolve. Here's more to talk about. Jesus, man. Okay. If you made it this far, thanks. I think I could probably write another 10,000 words about this game this fall in my ninth working on Destiny, and at times it felt longer than 9 years. There have been dark, dark days for you, for us here, and certainly for me, but this year has been special. It's been a lot of fun talking with you all and getting to try something different, whether they are a stream where I turned up unshowered because my hot water went out the morning of, yep, of, or a Twitter promise that didn't turn into too many words. This. Yikes. The Bungie team has worked incredibly hard, and we're excited to keep Shadowkeep onto your hard drives in October. Big thanks to them for their hard work and also helping me put this together on a comically tight timeline. Many, many emails and work related instant messages were sent during this conversation of this message. Thank you for playing, reading, and being part of this community. See you soon, Luke Smith. This one's pretty good. A lot of PvP stuff. People love PvP information. This gives a lot of changes. No pictures though, sadly. Big wall of text, as you can tell. But that's it for part three. There's probably be more later, late August. But this is my last part right here, part three. As you can tell, it is the last part. No webcam today because I'm lazy, and might as well not. Who knows? I'm not sure. I don't really care. I was just uploading these because why not? You know. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I read really badly. That's all I remember from this session. I don't know how long this is. Like what, 40 minutes? Who knows? I don't have a timer. I wish I did, but this program sucks. So there's that. Maybe there is. Is this a timer?